Hello everyone, how are you today? Welcome back. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. This is Hoàng Nguyen, your trusted coding expert. This is the place to gain valuable knowledge from real-world medical coding experience. Are you struggling with lesion excision coding on the CBC, COC, or other medical coding exams? Feeling overwhelmed when a case throws multiple lesions at you, some benign, some malignant, scattered all over the body. And just when you think you got it, lesion size measurements and machines come into play. Not to mention, you also have to remember the coding rules for excision, making everything even more confusing. I get it. Coding these cases can feel like a puzzle with too many pieces. But don't worry, in this video, I'm going to break it all down for you, step by step. By the end, you will know exactly how to code lesion excision like a professional coder. Are you ready? Let's get started. Before we start, if you are looking for a detailed breakdown of how to code lesion excision step by step, I highly recommend checking out my full video on this topic. Just search how to code lesion excision on my channel, where I explain the coding rules in depth. I will also include the link in the description box below. This video, however, is a quick recap to refresh your memory and reinforce what you have already learned. Plus, I will give you a chance to practice coding case studies so you can apply your knowledge and gain confidence for the exam. Lesion excision is a surgical procedure used to remove skin lesion, which can be either benign or malignant. When coding for excision, it's important to understand that the procedure isn't just about removing the lesion itself. It also includes an appropriate margin of healthy tissue around it. To code lesion excision correctly, you need to consider four key factors. First, the type of lesion. Is it benign or malignant? This determines which set of CPT codes to you. Second, the measurement of the excised diameter, which includes both the lesion size and the margin taken. Third, consider the location of the lesion, as different areas of the body have different sets of codes. And finally, the closure method, as some repairs require additional coding beyond simple closure. In the next slides, we will break down each of these factors in detail so you can fully understand how to apply them when coding lesion excision cases. Lesion types. Let's start by discussing the different types of lesion, beginning with benign lesion. Benign lesions are non-cancerous growths that typically do not spread to other parts of the body. These lesions are generally considered less serious but still require attention and appropriate treatment. Some common examples of benign lesions include skin tags, cysts, lipomas, and nevis, which are also known as moles. On the other hand, we have malignant lesions. These are cancerous lesions that have the potential to invade surrounding tissue or spread to other parts of the body. Malignant lesions are more serious and often require more intensive treatment, such as excision or additional therapies. Examples of malignant lesions include melanoma, basal cell carcinoma, and squamous cell carcinoma. Understanding the difference between benign and malignant lesions is crucial for accurate diagnosis, treatment, and coding. The nature of the lesion impacts the procedure we use to remove it and how we code the treatment in the medical record. Excised diameter measurements. Let's break down the total excised diameter, which includes both the lesion site and the margin. Assuming this is the excision cut around the lesion. First, lesion site refers to the actual site of the lesion itself, the portion of tissue that's being excised. Next, margin, the additional tissue around the lesion to ensure complete excision. Now, here's the coding rules. To determine the total excised diameter, you add the lesion site and the margin together. This combined measurement is critical for accurate coding. Assuming this lesion is measured with a width of 2 cm and a height of 1.5 cm and the margin is 0.5 cm. Here's how you would calculate for coding purposes. First, between the lesion width and height, you choose the larger number, which in this case is 2 cm. Then, you add the margin on both sides, so 0.5 cm plus 0.5 cm equals 1 cm. Therefore, the total excised diameter is 2 cm lesion side plus 1 cm margin, which equals 3 cm. Finally, the impact on coding is significant. The total excised diameter determines the appropriate CPT code assignment. The larger the size, the bigger the reimbursement, so make sure you know how to add them correctly. Lesion location. Now, let's discuss the categorization of lesion location in CPT codes. It's important to know that the categorization isn't based solely on anatomical proximity, but rather on surgical complexity, tissue characteristics, and procedural standards. To prepare for your coding exam, I recommend that you open your CPT books and go to the Surgery Integumentary System section. You are not allowed to bring a highlighter when taking the exam online, so highlighting these base codes now will make it easier for you to locate them quickly. You can also search by lesion type, benign versus malignant, and assign diameter to streamline your process. Below are the codes that I want you to highlight and tap for easy reference. For excision of benign lesion, 11400 is for excision on the trunk, arm, or legs with an excised diameter of 0.5 cm or less. 11420 applies to excision on the scalp, neck, hands, feet, or genitalia, also with an excised diameter of 0.5 cm or less. 11440 is for excision on the face, ears, eyelids, nose, or lips with the same excised diameter of 0.5 cm or less. For excision of malignant lesions, 11600 is for excision on the trunk, arm, or legs with an excised diameter of 0.5 cm or less. 11620 is for excisions on the scalp, neck, hands, feet, or genitalia, again with an excised diameter of 0.5 cm or less. And 11640 apply to excision on the face, ears, eyelids, nose, or lips, also with an excised diameter of 0.5 cm or less. Please note that after this base code, the CPT code changes based on the excised diameter of the lesion. That said, once you know the lesion type and total excised diameter, you should come here to find the appropriate code. Closure and repair consideration. When coding lesion excision, It's important to understand how closure are handled. Simple closure is already included in the excision codes, so you don't need to report it separately. However, intermediate closure, which involves layer repair, are coded separately using CPT codes 12031 to 12057. For more complex repair like rotation flap or Z-plasty, you will use CPT codes 14000 to 14061, which must also be reported separately from the excision code. The key takeaway here is that only simple closure is included. Any closure beyond that requires an additional code, in addition to the lesion excision code. I hope you take note of this guideline and remember it so you can code correctly for both the exam and work. Now that we have covered these key concepts, it's time to put them into practice. Are you ready to code now? Let's do it. But before we start, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more coding tips and practice cases. Case study number 1. A 45-year-old female presents with a benign cyst on her left shoulder. The lesion measures 1.5 cm x 10 cm and the surgeon excised it with a 0.3 cm margin on each side. The wound is closed with a simple repair. Find the appropriate CPT code or codes for this procedure. Now, let's follow the coding step. Step 1. You need to identify the lesion type, either benign or malignant, and its location. In this case, it is a benign cyst on her left shoulder. Next, we need to calculate the total excised diameter. Remember, this includes the lesion size plus the margin on both sides. Take a moment to do the math. The lesion measures 1.5 cm x 10 cm. So for coding purposes, we select the larger measurement, which is 1.5 cm. Next, the surgeon excised an additional 0.3 cm on each side, so we add 0.3 cm plus 0.3 cm equal 0.6 cm. Now, we take the lesion size 1.5 cm and add the total margin 0.6 cm, which equal 2.1 cm. This final measurement, 2.1 cm, is the total excised diameter that we will use to determine the correct CPT code. After determining the total excised diameter, the next step is to choose the correct CPT code. Please open your book and go to the section I asked you to highlight. Look under benign lesion, starting with the base code 11400 for the trunk, arms. Then look under this code to find which one matches a total excised diameter of 2.1 cm. You will find that 11403 corresponds to an excised diameter of 2.1 to 3.1 cm. Now, let's move on to the final step, checking out how the wound is closed. According to the procedure report, the wound is closed with a simple repair, which is included in the lesion excision code, so we do not need to code it separately. That said, the only procedure code needed for this case is 11403. Excision, benign lesion, trunk 2.1 to 3 cm. How are you doing so far? I hope you are following along okay. Now, let's move on to the next case. Case number 2. A 60-year-old female presents with two benign lesions, one on the left upper arm and another on her scalp. The lesion on the left upper arm measures 1.3 times 0.9 cm, and the surgeon excised with a 0.3 cm margin on each side, followed by a simple closure. The lesion on the scalp measures 1.8 cm times 1.2 cm, and the surgeon excised with a 0.4 cm margin on each side, followed by a layer closure. Find the appropriate CPT code or codes for this procedure. Now, I would like to give you a chance to try coding this case by yourself. Follow my step before I go over it. I will play a music clip and wait for you. Please pause the video and do it now. Assuming you already coded this yourself, let's see how you did. Your first step is to identify the type of lesion. We have two lesions, both benign, one on her left upper arm and the other on her scalp. Your next step is to calculate the total excised diameter for each lesion. On the upper arm, the lesion measures 1.3 cm times 0.9 cm. So you pick the larger number, which is 1.3 cm. The surgeon mentioned a 0.3 cm margin on each side, so you need to double this number for both sides, making it a 0.6 cm. Therefore, the total excised diameter is 1.3 cm plus 0.6 cm, which equals 1.9 cm. And for this lesion, the wound is closed with a simple closure. On the scalp lesion, it measures 1.8 cm times 1.2 cm, so you pick the larger number, which is 1.8 cm. The surgeon mentioned a 0.4 cm margin on each side, so you need to double this number for both sides, making it a 0.8 cm. Therefore, the total excised diameter is 1.8 cm plus 0.8 cm, which equals 2.6 cm. And for this lesion, the wound is closed with a layer closure. Based on the guidelines, simple closure is included in the excision code. So for the upper arm benign lesion, you only need one code. However, for the scalp, the layer closure is not included in the excision code, so you need to code it separately. Now, before I open my book for the coding exam, I know I need 3 CPT codes for this case. Any question that doesn't have 3 CPT codes will be eliminated. Sometimes you already know the correct answer even before you open your CPT book. Sorry, I didn't provide multiple choice question in this case. I want you to open your book and code it yourself. After this step, you should have all the information you need. Now open your CPT book, turn to the page that you tapped before, and look under the benign lesion section. Start with the base code 11400 for benign lesion of the trunk, arms, and legs. You will find that 11402 is for a total excised diameter of 1.1 to 20 cm, and that should be the correct code to report for the first lesion. For the second lesion on the scalp, start with the base code 11420 for benign lesion of the scalp, neck, and hands. You will find that 11423 is for a total excised diameter of 2.123 cm, and that should be the correct code to report. Now you know that the layer closure is not included in the lesion excision code, so you need to code it separately. If you already watched my video on how to code wound repair, you should know that a layer closure is the same as an intermediate repair. So if you look under repair of intermediate wounds for the scalp, you will find that 12032 is the correct code to use for the size of 2.6 to 7.5 cm. That said, the correct code to report for this case are 11402, 11423, and 12032. I hope you got it right. If not, don't worry. Practice makes perfect, so try it again. Case number 3 is for your homework. Try to follow my step and code this case yourself. I'll go over it next week. That's all for today. If you found the content valuable and would like to see more for your exam prep and everyday coding, don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and share buttons. I really appreciate it. On another note, a free IC10CM course for new coders or those who are new to coding is available on my website, codingwithhorn.com, so check it out. Remember, the more you learn, the more valuable you become. Keep pushing forward and growing. Until next time, have a great day.